Hello, everybody, and welcome again back to Procrastinator's Pit Stop. We have another lovely guest for you today, pun intended. We're with lovely Marshall. Lovely is a thought leader in empowerment, personal development, and career coaching, as well as the visionary founder of Lovely is Your Story, a global platform offering life changing education and coaching. Recognized by Forbes and CEO Weekly, she inspires audiences worldwide with her message, You Belong Here, and is building a $100 million coaching empire. Lovely, welcome to the show.
Huh? Thank you so much for the honor of having me. I appreciate this. And hello, everybody. Hello, world.
Well, I think I speak for everybody here at Procrastinators Pit Stop, where we see that say that it's lovely to have you here. And
Thank you.
before
Thank
we
you.
get too much into it, we do have like to have an icebreaker on this show. And your
hmm
question today is, which cartoon character do you resonate the most with, and why?
Yeah. So I would say Lola Bunny from Space Jam for all of you all who are younger than the millennials. You need to check out the Space Jam with Michael Jordan, not with LeBron James. And Lola Bunny was just awesome. I really enjoyed her because she could play with the big league at the big time, but she kept her feminine essence. And so I really liked this cartoon character, but never really thought about it before. So if you all are Lola fans as well, let me know.
Like that one. I like Lola Bunny, and you're right. She was really no nonsense. She played
hmm
hard. She brought her best. But,
Yes.
she was kinda, still in her element, so yeah, I like that. I remember that part for sure. She even popped the basketball, I think.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. She did good. She did really good. Like it was like, okay, if you think I'm just a girl, I'm gonna show you. Like anything you can do, I can do better. Like I felt like that was her mantra.
Certainly was. Lovely. Why don't you go into a little bit about your journey and, how you got
Yeah.
to be where you are today?
So a little bit about my journey. I am just a girl from Kansas. Grew up in Kansas City, Kansas, and came to Houston with negative $85 in my bank account. I got a job offer. I was like, I am going to move to Houston. It's the big city. It's known as the medical capital of the world, as I like to say, and got a job offer, but I didn't necessarily have the funds to actually hold the job offer until I got paid. But I made it through a series of incredible careers. It led me to Facebook. I got a Facebook job offer. And a lot of people just always would ask me, like, Lovely, how are you doing this? How did you go about doing this? And I'm like, the short answer is Mark Zuckerberg doesn't have a degree. So of course I could, like go ahead and work for this company. But the long answer was, it was a series of networking, really mindset beliefs. And now I really try to help my clients who are overlooked and undervalued professionals. And those who are undervalued, you know who you are. Like you're not compensated enough. You're sick of the 2%. You may have been overlooked for promotions or things. And we really try to ensure that you can become a paid powerhouse. And a powerhouse is someone who is dynamic, effective, and unstoppable in achieving success. That's what we do.
Well, excellent. Thank you for sharing that. And you've had a lot of success in your life, and I know that that doesn't come without its own set of challenges. What do you think was the biggest challenge that you had to overcome on your journey?
The biggest challenge I had to overcome was my own denial. I am a girl who is just like, he go ahead and do this. Like, this will be easy. And recognizing it's not gonna be like that easy. I think that was like the biggest challenge because I'm just like, well, everybody's gonna love me. Like, of course they're gonna love me. Like, I could do this. Or, of course, I deserve that promotion. I worked over 10 hours and I missed this graduation and I wasn't there. Of course, I deserve this, right? No, you don't. You don't deserve it. That doesn't mean that they're going to pay you it. And I think that was like the piece that I needed to get over. Like, my own lack of knowledge, I would say, that I was really like in denial about.
Well, that's a very common thing.
Hmm.
Normally it swings the other way though. Normally when people think about that, they think, oh, nobody's gonna like me. So normally it's the
Oh,
other way around.
eh,
But yes, it is a challenge that a lot of us tend to face. So thank you for sharing that. Let's touch a little bit on procrastination. So, what does procrastination mean for you, and how
mhm.
has it impacted you personally?
So procrastination means to me is that you had good intention, but you created some obstacle. And I say you created the obstacle, not that an obstacle was created. That's the difference that I feel like barriers versus procrastination. Like you created the obstacle. You either went to sleep. So that obstacle of you not getting the podcast launch that affected you, or you were like, I'll just wait. They have layoffs coming, but I'll wait to update my resume later or my LinkedIn profile later. So you created this obstacle because now you're laid off with all these other thousands of people. You're like, it's so hard out here. No, you knew 2 months ago that they were talk about it. And you didn't make the decision to go ahead and move forward. So I feel like that's what procrastination has meant to me. Obstacles that I created for myself, so curious to like learn about like for you, like what obstacles have you created for yourself?
No, that's a very good definition. I like that one. Have you ever had anything where you've procrastinated on it, and if you did, how did you get over it?
Hmm. Think my biggest procrastination was really showing up for myself. I waited a long time for everybody to be like, this is gonna be great. Where now I'm cheering for myself. I'm like, guess what, lovely? You did this and this is great. Like, have your own progress. And I think I waited a long time for other people to celebrate me to move forward. Like, and this is everything from, oh, the guy didn't say I was cute. So I'm not going to go out on any dating. Well, then that prolonged me from getting married. Or my friend didn't call me. So because she didn't call me, I'm not going to call her. But then we miss out on that powerful connection, or God forbid, the loss of a loved one, where I'm going to call them. I'm going to visit them. I'm going to do it. But I then am like, oh, I'm too tired, or this or that. So I feel like the most extreme has been death. The less extreme has been to the point where it's impacted me of really building those relationships and growing my own like career.
No, and that's actually pretty common in for many of us. How did you push yourself through that, or how did you get over that?
I write a lot of notes, a lot of notes. So right now, like I have like this note says if the phone rings once, somebody pick it up. And then I have like all these ideas like for my monitor that's right here. It's like, what great ideas will I act upon today? And I'm telling myself, act now, lovely, like go after it now. So that's what I've really done to sort of like push myself forward, is telling myself those positive things that I know. Like a lot of people are like, oh, well, it's not enough for you to be positive. For me, it really does help. Like everything works for every person. Some people to get in shape, it's the fact that their jeans don't fit as well. To me, it was my mother being diagnosed with breast cancer. So it's different things that affect different people that will like get you to do it. But me hearing the word act now and seeing it all through, telling myself, do this, do this. It's sort of like, you remember when we were kids and around the classroom, it would be like all the rules that she had. And it was like, be kind, say nice things. And you really don't realize, like, I'll be kind to that person. But as school goes on, you're like, okay, I'm going to say nice things because there goes the rules right there. And so that's what I feel like has been a really positive thing for me on making things better.
It's that is it's a really good way, constant reminders to just, act
Mm,
now, be kind,
yes.
and just go out there and be nice. I remember the other one actually I had when I was a kid. I didn't really pay attention to. It was one of those hot air balloons. I think it was the sixth grade I had that, and it said, "Remember, it's your attitude and not your altitude that determines your final
Mhm.
altitude." And I don't know why, because I don't
Mhm.
even know why I remember that, because when I was a kid, I remember looking at it, and I guess it must have had some impact on me because I remembered
Yeah.
it,
Yeah.
because that's the way our brains work. But at the
Yeah.
time, I didn't really pay much attention to it. But it is very, very.
Yeah. No, like, even our conversation now of like me remembering that when I was in school, like, why do I like seeing things wrote out? Like, oh, it's because in school we had that done. And so I remember having that positivity. And then, like, in our school in America, because I know this is like globally, but like in America, we get the gold star. So you were like so good at the end of the week. You got a gold star, and I wanted that gold star. So I had to remember the rules. And like I feel like that's how it is in career, in life, and even building my business. It's like I want that client. In order to do this, I have to act now. They're on Facebook now. They're on LinkedIn now. I need to act now while they're on it. Get up, get yourself like create these content. I know you don't feel good, but like act now so that way you can be able to get them and let them know like, hey, you belong here.
But why don't we touch a little bit on that? You belong here. Can you tell me like who that kind of encompasses? I mean, I kind of envision it being everyone, but do you
Mhm.
find that there's a certain person that is more drawn to that concept than another person?
Yeah. So honestly, you belong here came from at a time where I felt like I didn't. Um, and it was the whole basis of the imposter syndrome of like, "Mm, I really don't like this. I'm not as good." And so it was like, no, you belong here. And what is your here right now? Like a lot of people want to go from here to there. And I want to get from like where I am to like over there. But is it for me? Am I worthy enough? And so it's like, yeah, like you belong here. What is it that you want? You want to have million YouTube subscribers? You belong here. What are the steps that you need to do to get there? If you want to make over $500,000 at fame companies, then you belong here. What is your skill set? What do you need to do? Who's the people who you need to connect with? Like, you belong here means that don't let the lack of qualifications, the lack of you not knowing anyone, your own lack of self belief, like, don't let that affect you because you do belong here. You're worthy, you're deserving of it. And just like that person got it to 1 million followers, guess what? One day they were a nobody just like you. One day, that person had no idea how to build Facebook, and then it came about in notes and all these various things. So, just recognizing that you belong here, where you see yourself at, you do belong here. So, come here, come with us, and I can help you as your coach to cheer you on for every single round as you go about trying to achieve those successes. We can be able to collaborate together.
I think that you raise a really good point. So many of us, we kind of maybe don't feel like we belong there because maybe we aren't sure
Mhm.
about the skill set, or maybe
Mhm.
we haven't done as much as
Mhm.
this other person, and we're always comparing. But really, it's well, two things you need to remember. First of all, we're human beings, not human doings. So just by being, we're enough. I mean, that's the very definition. We're being, so we're being is enough.
Mhm.
but also a lot of people tend to sell their skill set kind of short, or they maybe they don't realize what they have to work with. I don't know if you've come across those kinds of people sometimes where we say, "Oh, I got nothing to work with." Well, well, no. I mean, locally, you maybe you have a group. Maybe you are part of a group somewhere. You're with the Dungeons and Dragons group that meets every Thursday to play board games. That's an asset. You can still use that.
Right.
Maybe they know somebody. But
Yes.
how do you approach that?
Yeah. So you said something so powerful as you were talking. Muhammad Ali, because I love boxing for Muhammad Ali. Like I can tell you who the UFC people are, but Muhammad Ali, I really love him. Just what he did in terms of ensuring that wherever you are, like you have it. And so he has this quote that says, even the greatest was once a beginners. Don't be afraid to take that first step. And that's the procrastination we talk about. Like we don't even take that first step because we like have this mental thing in our mind of like, oh, it's not going to work, or it's not going to be good enough, or they're not going to like it, or they're not going to like me, or it won't work out, or what if they say no? And it's just like, do it. Like even the greatest was once a beginner. Mike Tyson and LeBron James, and there's this guy who's the baseball player, like he's really, really good. And the football player, and like, yeah, the Olympics. These people had to start at the beginning. Then they got training and they did it. But guess what they did? They showed up. They showed up over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. And the greatest athletes, the greatest people have a coach. You will hear Jim Rowan talks about how he was mentored, and Grant Cardone talks about the mentors. Like everyone has somebody who really like pours into them and sees them. So you really like touched on a really, really great point. And I think that was one of the things that I really had that is still to this day is so important is that mastermind group where I'm like, oh, well, you know this, but I know this. Oh, well, you didn't even know that they had that app. Like, what a lineup? Like, what is this? But this is for business. Wait, matchmaker? I could find people for podcasts. Like, it's always incredible. Like, I am blown away by just connecting with somebody. Like, we had a pre-conversation and we talked about everything. And it was just simply like, hey, I want to get to know you. And it turned into over our conversation simply because it was just genuine. And that's what I think like people really miss out on the power of other people.
Yeah, I like that. Pop. Power of other people. Oh no, no, that'd be poop. Power of other people. Oh no. I didn't think that one through. I didn't think that one through. I'll stick with pop.
Maybe,
Power of
maybe
people.
we just do, and then like we get rid of the of because like usually when it's like a shorter word, they don't like include the and or whatever. So we're just gonna do pop,
Yeah, well, we'll just
pop,
leave it
yeah.
as we'll just leave it as pop. Yeah, I'm gonna take it. Yeah, keep that. Wow. Yep. Need to screen that a little more. Okay. So anyway, you did touch on another aspect here that I wanted to touch on a little bit too. I myself actually am in kind of the same boat. Everything that I've ever done, I mean, I have never gotten a degree for. I have basically been self-taught or taught by others. But I mean, like all my greatest accomplishments, you know, they have always been through education and like hands-on experience, right? And so many of us get stuck on, and right now I think it's sad that we all get stuck on, you need to have degrees. But you you actually got a job at Facebook without a degree too, right? So I mean, I wanted to hear your sort of take on it because it's a little more difficult sometimes, but what would you tell to somebody who, doesn't have a degree and they say, "Well, I really want to do this, but I don't necessarily have the resources," right? Because a degree right now is what, 50, $60,000. So what do you tell people when they say, "Well, I can't do this because I don't have a degree?"
No, I think that's really, really powerful. What you stated. So the thing that we do is we help people without traditional qualifications. And you stated something that's powerful. Just because you don't have education doesn't mean that you don't have knowledge. No one says education is power. They say knowledge is power because of the knowledge that you have within other people will trade. It's like, again, we live in this world where I will trade you for your salary because of the knowledge that you have and that you can be able to have it. I think people's problem is their ability to tell a story. They say, "Oh, I don't have this, but I actually worked for the VA for 20 years and I was responsible for their cybersecurity and people will try to steal military things." Wait a minute. You are vet, so you are highly classified and you have the ability to protect information. No. You don't start with what you don't have. You tell me what you do have. And I'm so impressed by you that I'm like, my God, like, what were we doing? Like, I didn't start with, yeah, I went to nursing school and, I had kids. And so I didn't end up finishing it, but I went to Cigna and I did all these things. No, it was my entire career to date has been driven by my passion to ensure that I help people know that they matter. And how I do this is I ensure that through our customers, through the millions that they have as doctors, as they're trying to go from writing chicken scratch to being able to get over to EMR, that their voices is heard, their practice are able to stay in network, and they also grow their platform. But, oh, wait, but like, she didn't tell me nothing about her career, but she told me that who she worked with was the doctors. What did they do? Like, so no one cared about any of that because they cared about my story. Like, this is somebody who knows, and she's talking to physicians. So they assume that I'm highly qualified because a physician, these are neurosurgeons, these are family practitioners, and they have thousands of practice that made it easy. So of course, Facebook, when you need me, your users are people, and I'm talking to them and how they can be converted and come over to your platform. That's what you're interested in. I took a doctor from chicken scratch to EMR. What can I be able to do for your platform? So that's what I feel like that's the problem that people have. They have the lack of the power of telling their story.
Actually, you said something I think really powerful there. A really powerful point is that really we've replaced stories with pieces of paper that basically say I did this in a controlled environment and I was able
Mm-hmm.
to go and sit there and regurgitate, but that doesn't really say anything about how you're going to perform in the workplace. It doesn't say how you're going to apply that knowledge too.
Mm-hmm.
So it's that's something that really hits home. What was it they say? Facts tell, stories sell. So your kind of advice to people is to know your story and be able to
Yeah.
tell your story so
Yes.
that
As lovely is your story.
lovely is your story. Right? Got you. So yes, definitely, lovely is your story. Correct. Yep, you're right. Thank you for slapping that. I got it. It's all good. It's all good. I told you before I needed coffee. And boom. Trip crate. All right. All right. Yeah. But no, it's true though, and there's so many applicants right now that what would you say to the companies? Because I had this flame war on Twitter. You can probably go look it up, but I'm not going to make it easy for you. where I got into a debate with someone because they didn't want to accept an older applicant. Like, okay, like I'm 38, all right? This older applicant was 27.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
like, come on, older
Oh,
applicant. This older
yeah.
applicant had 7 years of work experience because they worked with this other person, and they essentially knew everything, but they did not have the formal degree. And
Mhm.
so the guy was saying, like, almost like condescendingly, well, we don't even look at anybody who doesn't have a degree. We don't want to talk to anybody who doesn't have a degree. And I said, well, okay, but you're hiring somebody straight out of, say, college or whatever. And how do you know they're going to perform? I mean, isn't this why you have a 90-day probationary period in businesses? Like, it's probationary to show what you can do. So why not give the guy without a degree, if he's got the experience, right? Then
Mhm.
why not give him a shot for the 90 days
Yeah,
rather than, take somebody fresh out and then try to train them? Or what do you think?
absolutely. So there's two things here. There's a culture aspect of things. I know companies who were like that. I won't say their name, but they were a big one in Kansas, Turner, and they got bought out by Oracle, who now accepts everyone. So oftentimes there is a culture differences, and you don't necessarily want to push your client on people who aren't a part of that culture fit, because then there's biases, there's things that they have to go through, and that creates the imposter syndrome. I don't belong here. Well, why don't I belong here? Because the people aren't inviting to me. They're talking about their degrees and they do this. So do we want to push that client into it versus making sure that, hey, what are you looking for? What drew you to this company? Was it the salary? Because I can give you a million more. There are over 5 million jobs on LinkedIn for the US right now. You go to LinkedIn, there's 5 million jobs with the average salary of $75,000 on LinkedIn right now. Not on Indeed, to be plenty more, not on Alignable where you can be able to network, not on Facebook, like Facebook has jobs. Like there is over 5 million jobs on LinkedIn right now. So the second piece of that is, did he have a referral? Because a lot of the people who I have partnered with and did clientele with, they also have a referral base. So it's not, again, it's not about Lovely. It's my story. Hey, I know Chris. Chris has been a director for here. He's been with our company for 5 years. And Chris, our company in the first innovation, and we've been able to grow by this, and we've been able to prevent this. I don't care about Lovely and her degree because I know Chris and I know the caliber of person that Chris has. So again, I'm not going to ask you about your degree, asking Chris, do you know somebody? Did you refer me? And so that's the part that I think like also is like an intricate part of it. And in the master class that I have, I teach about like the 5 different people that are going for a job that you have to have. But I definitely think that you are correct. In this day and age, there are more companies who will take you for your experience than your education. And if that is a company that does not accept you for your experience versus your education, because some people, they go for the degree and that's their way to being able to do it. That's the only way I can get this knowledge, is because of the fact that I had to go about doing this degree. Then you pivot. There are 32 million businesses, again, in the US. This is not Lovely statistics. This is Google. You can go to another company. You can not necessarily have to beat a dead horse for that particular person, because you don't want your friend, your client to then be miserable because they're now having to deal with imposter syndrome and things where they're being looked at less of. But I definitely would say I can't wait to read that thread because I love Twitter, of seeing like, hey, how can we foster an environment where we have it? Because companies, as we talk about diversity and inclusion, it's not because it's Black women, white women, Hispanic women, men who are LGBTQ. It's even the matter of, hey, we all went to Harvard and we all can't go to Harvard. I need somebody who went to Howard because their perspective are different. And if I want to reach the masses, I need to understand, how are they talking? What is their conversation? What are their pain points? And that's how it comes together.
Yeah, you mentioned something interesting there, that the whole and I wonder, do you think that more companies are going by this referral base and they're just posting the jobs for the sake of posting the jobs? Because I mean, I've heard there's this big thing online now with 700, like, I don't know if they're exaggerating, right? But 7,000 applicants, not one response, not one interview, right? And so there's lots of complaints about. I'm sure you've seen. What's your take on these ghost jobs? And are they doing that?
So there is a law, can't tell you exactly what it is. I will, because now that I'm having to speak about it, I'm going to look it up and post it. But there is a law that says that you must put out the job. So for me, for Facebook, I did not apply. I got reached out to on LinkedIn by the Google recruiter, Facebook recruiter, LinkedIn recruiter, Workday. Never applied, never submitted an application. But the process is once I met the Facebook standard, then I had to actually apply for the job so they could send me an offer letter. This was my job, not Chris's job, but they posted this job out there that already had Lovely's name on it. And they had to make it available to everyone. And for my job, there are over, like you said, 7,000, like trying to get into Fang. And then for a product manager role, we were one of literally like 100 in the company. There are like thousands of engineers. There were only 2,000 product managers. So for my job, although they had to post it out there so that way I could apply to the job, that job was already took. And that's again, understanding the various channels and why your network really matters. If the day that I am applying for a job, then 9 times out of 10, I am too late. You need to have a relationship with the recruiter, with Chris, who works at his company, with Susan, who works at her company, with the person who used to work at the old company. Do not sleep. When it says ex-employee, I have not been with Cigna in 4 years now. I still have VPs who are my friends, who I have, and I'm like, hey, this person went through my program. I think they'll be a great fit. Would you do an employee referral? I don't even go there anymore. But because you have a network of people, that's how you have it. So yes, there is some truth to that because of the law that we have to have in place. And I have heard from recruiters specifically state that by putting it out there, it actually helped them to know what the talent of pool is. So it's not all bad. Yeah, I applied for the job, but Lovely had that job, but Chris is a really great candidate. And I really want to have Chris on my team. So the next time that there's an opening, Chris, in our department, I want Chris to come on there. So I don't think that it's bad. But these 7,000 applications, I guarantee you they're the easy apply on LinkedIn. So you're not even filling out all of your stuff, which is why you should go to the company website. And then the second thing is they don't know you. There are millions of Chris. There are maybe hundreds of Leslies. I think it's as many as Leslies, but I need to know you. That's the same thing for you all. When you go on Instagram and Amazon, do I know you? Do I like you? And can I trust you? Those are the 3 things that you are looking for. I'm not just going to buy a purse because Kylie Jenner or somebody else has it. Do I know Kylie? Do I like Kylie? And do I trust that what she's doing, or is she just making money for somebody else? Do I trust this person? Chris could be a great employee, but I don't trust Chris because the last time that we went to this Christmas party, Chris didn't even speak to me. So I no longer trust him. So even with the employees referral that you have, like, that's all things that you have. So yeah, I think that's sort of the long answer to it.
No, but I mean that's a good answer, and thank you for sharing that because I do know that frustrations are pretty high, especially since again back and I feel for these people too because 20 years ago, if I wanted to go out and get a job, I had to go against maybe at the most I had to go against maybe if it was a really solid for 500 applicants, maybe. Most of the time when I was going out for jobs, it was, I'd go out and apply for maybe 100. I'd hear back from say 50. I'd actually go to interview for maybe 20. And then, maybe at the end, I'd be shortlisted for 5. And then out of that, I'd go to a second interview for maybe 2 and I get hired by
Here's
1.
something that you said, because you just said something profound. How many jobs did you say that you applied to? Say that again.
Oh, and at one point, I think I was very lucky. But at one point, I did when I first started working online, which I worked online before it was cool. I worked online pre-COVID since I've been working online since about 2011. So even back then, I had to apply literally to over 100, 200 jobs, easy.
100 to 200 jobs. That's the norm now. They say that. Like LinkedIn, Forbes, Times, all of them say in this day and age, 120 jobs is the number. Most people only apply to 5. And then they're like, it's working. So I just wanted to repeat that because I was like, I don't think people heard him say that number.
Yeah, no, no, no. It's true though, and again, dating myself. But when I was looking for an in-person job, and this is where I think we need to kind of understand that, right? When I applied for an in-person job locally, I applied to, and this was back in 2006. So, and I was in a small town, so it was a little different. But I applied to what was it? I applied to 10. I applied to 10 places. I got callbacks from I think 4, but I only
Oh,
interviewed at 2 and only got the job at 1, right? So I mean that
good
sounds a
deal.
little more manageable than this 120, right? But it's just this whole thing, and I'm sure we could go on for hours about it, honestly. But want to be respectful of our listeners too, because I'm sure they're getting tired of hearing me rant. Anyway, um, just to circle back to you, Lovely. It's obviously you're doing something great. You're working with these people,
Yes.
and you've got big plans. That $100 million coaching empire goal for yourself. Um, where would you say that you see yourself in the next year?
Sure, I love this question. I love this question. So in the next year, I see myself in terms of clients wise, the ability to help generate over $2 million in raises alone, in pay raises. I would like to be able to say that we have got clients over $2 million in pay raises. Right now, with our past 5 clients, we're about $80,000 that we've generated them from. This is why this is so important. Look at your last pay raise. How much was it? Was it less than 2%? So that means that most of you all got 1,500, maybe 2,000 for a pay increase. And these are people out of 5. One of them got $30,000. Not that it was a promotion, exact same job title. Business analyst. Did not change. The company and the value that she had was able to change. And so that's what I would like to get to from a personal standpoint. For Lovely is Your Story, I would like to be on 25 stages for 2025. And the reason is I have some incredible things. I have had an incredible journey, but people don't know me so that way they can like me and then trust me. And so I would like to be on 25 stages for 2025. And I appreciate you for letting me be number 3 on sharing my message with the world to your audience.
Well, we appreciate having you here as well, and I'm sure that the audience agrees for sure. And just before we start wrapping up here, is there anything that you feel maybe I should have asked, or anything we should have talked about that we didn't talk about today?
This is a really great one. So I listened to this podcast and it says like a way for you to ask the next guest a question. And so like for my question like that I would like to ask, it was like, what would you ask like the next podcast guest? So it makes it interesting, at least for me, because I'm always like, okay, I want to watch the next show so that way I can see like how did this person answer this question. And for me, the question I would ask individuals is what keeps you up at night?
All right. So you heard it here next. So Lovely has just given us the icebreaker question. That's a little teaser for the next episode. What keeps you up at night? And oh boy, I don't think we have enough time for that. What keeps you up at night? That's a big one. That's a good one. Thank you for giving that. And just before we head off here, how can our audience reach out to you? What's the
Yeah.
best way to get in touch?
Yeah, so I'm on all social media profiles, LinkedIn, Facebooks, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube at Lovely is Your Story. And it is free to like, follow, share, and comment. And I'm excited to just be on this journey with you, whether I'm sharing tips on how for you to block your boss or tips on how to do a update for your profile to make yourself stand out and easy ways to like get free things in the Houston area.
Well, that is excellent, and I encourage all of our audience to definitely reach out. You can't go wrong for sure, and just build that. If nothing else, you're building that network, right?
Yes,
So
yes.
thank you all. Thank you, Lovely. It was lovely having
Thank
you on the show. I know
you.
I've done that one to death, but I'm doing it again. It was lovely to have you on the show, Lovely. And to our listeners, thank you for tuning in. And just remember, if you can't find your own motivation, inspiration today, maybe just go out
Mhm.
and be that motivation, inspiration for someone else.
Yes.
And we'll see you again next time.
Yes. Yes. Thank you.